Get my notes.
Live.
All right. Here we
Do it.
go. Welcome in. It is another week and another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I am Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and we are so excited to be here. I think we're missing our normal host, but it's really fun to be able to comment. So something happens when we're being hosted that I'm unable to comment. So I'm up there and I will throw up a lot of comments. So be prepared.
Get up there, girl. I wonder
I'm up there.
We'll have to ask Ken if there's something on his end that he sees that can help you comment.
Maybe I would love to do that. So
yeah, because I don't know. I can't tell on my end. Anyway, gosh, we're so happy to be here today. This is our second episode of the new year, and it's kind of crazy. We're halfway through January already.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking to you all about just nervous system resilience and stress, and why it's so important that everybody needs to be managing their nervous system properly. And what we really want to talk about today in our topic is the link between stress, pain, and nervous system dysfunction. And ultimately, what we're going to unravel for you today is why the body can't heal when it's under stress and how it perceives threat versus safety. And that the modern stressors of life are actually confusing your nervous system, whether you think they are or not.
Well, one of the greatest reframes about chiropractic is, okay, so everybody thinks that chiropractic and they think bone doctors, which I understand where that comes from, but it's such a misnomer. Not only are we not bone doctors, we are nervous system doctors, and we're not even body doctors, we're brain doctors. Like all of the adjustments get cycled all the way up to the brain and back down, up to the brain, back down, up to the brain, back down. And so the stress hormones that are involved when we have, yes, people come to us. I got this shoulder thing. I got headaches. I got low back pain. That is so tip of the iceberg for what's going on. The stress of the system when it has those symptoms, that's really where we stand. And that's really where we work. And the symptom is so late in the game. It's so late as compared to when this all started. And so the brain, the detrimental effects to the brain when we have that pain, it goes months before that pain even comes. So I just wanted to just kind of take that all the way to the moon and back just to start us up today.
And that's really it. We just started with a touchdown right there. Like, drop the mic. Okay, we're done today because that's really. I mean that's a wrap. That's really all you need to know. But we're gonna unravel a little bit more.
Yes.
But that's really the gold of what we want to talk about, is that when we adjust the spine, we're actually adjusting the brain. We are changing those signals. So yes, you come in with neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, but it's there because there's a disrupted neurological signal. And so it seems to the average person that when we adjust the spine, and you may or may not hear any cracking or crunching or bones moving, it may seem that we are just, it's just, and you're fine. But the neurological storm of healing that takes place after that, maybe storm's not the right word.
It's a healing
cascade. That's the word I'm thinking of. Yes.
Storm, truly, but yes.
Yeah. So it's a cascade. It's like we are changing your body's signaling from a cascade of negative effects that are causing you pain to a cascade of positive effects that will move you back to health and healing. Yeah. And that can only come through the brain and the nervous system.
Yeah. And it doesn't actually, like you just said, a cascade of negative signals, but also pain. And sometimes it doesn't even have pain. Like, that's the thing. That's like, people come into they call my office and they will say, I've got this thing and I just bent over and I was picking up a t-shirt. And this actually goes back to something that you were talking about in one of your posts today. When we get up in the morning, and we have any kind of discomfort or pain and cannot get the body moving, you are way late to the chiropractor. But also, it wasn't the bending over and picking the t-shirt up. It was that this negative cascade, and I want to call that part negative because it's disruptive to the body's ability to heal and process and balance and stay healthy. That is a negative cascade. So when we start to change that, I was just thinking about patients that have been with me. One of the groups that I'm in, we were talking about patients that have been in for the first 10 visits and then 50 visits and then 100 visits and then 500 visits. And like, to acknowledge these people that have really taken their health to the next level. And like, it's part of their weekly routine to make sure that they're doing that. Are you frozen over there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your face was like,
I
wow,
know.
you are
I'm gonna
really
try.
holding.
I think my
Are you doing
video
the mannequin
card.
challenge? Are you doing the
What's
mannequin
that?
challenge over there?
I know. I think my video card in my computer
That was
is
cool.
losing it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do what I did last week, and I'm gonna
Okay,
jump.
you look great. That's a really nice stop.
I know it's a good frozen face, isn't it?
It is. I was like, wow, you're
Yeah,
doing the mannequin challenge.
I know, right? I know. Well, at least you can hear me.
Yeah.
Um,
So
okay,
that
so
crunch
we'll keep
crack that you
talking, and I'm gonna
hear.
go find this link, and I'm gonna get logged on. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
log on from my phone like I did last week.
Cool,
Okay.
that's awesome. So, Silly Lily, just to answer your question, so the crack crunch that you hear is from what I understand, a gas being released. Okay, so true. And I'm so glad that you have this information. And so here's the thing. Each of one of our joints has a certain amount of pressure that needs to be in there in order for us to stand upright. And that pressure is created not only from the fluid and the tissue itself, but also a certain amount of gas, and that sounds crazy to say gas is in each one of our joints, but that is what's holding the tension in order for our body to have the amount of tension that's in each one of our joints, in order for us to have an upright posture, in order for our spinal bones to not only have enough tension and strength to be upright, but also it keeps it so it needs the flexibility. And yes, that also comes from fluid, but the flexibility comes from the fact that it's not all just hard tissue standing in the joint space. And so it's just a little bit of gas in the joint space, and that crunch and crack noise. Everybody loves to hear it. I do too.
I
I
do
get it.
too. Yes,
And
I do
that
too.
actual noise is irrelevant to the adjustment. So
Mhm.
it's there and it happens frequently when you get adjusted. And that also depends on flexibility and hydration and age and all of those kinds of
All
things.
the other things. Well, and
But
think about it like this. I think when you talk about the tension in the joint is that it's like vacuum sealed. So think about opening a pickle jar. You release the gas, you release
yeah,
the tension, and then you get to the good stuff. And
yeah,
so your joints, the joint capsule is vacuum sealed, and that's protection.
love
It's
it.
protection for the joints, and it allows for the fluid to move through the joints properly. But when we hear that noise, it's called cavitation. We're actually releasing that gas out into the joint space, which also introduces the production of endorphins. And endorphins are your feel good hormones. And those feel good hormones help things like pain, neurological healing, scar tissue, inflammation. And so when we release the endorphins, a whole slew of healing events starts to take place. But it's not a physical thing, it's a biochemical thing that communicates with the nervous system.
Right.
So you have to recognize that that is truly the underlying process that's taking place.
So the other part I wanted to add into that, when we think about this areas of what's called subluxation, so that's misalignment, that's creating this tension surrounding. And so it takes at 3 weeks, then scar tissue starts to form in these areas that are misaligned. So tissue starts to form, but it lays down like this. It lays down in all patterns. And so the adjustment is delivered in the direction that the joint is going to be moving, because we want to restore that the scar tissue needs to start to get reorganized. So instead of laying in all different kinds of directions and being locked down, we have to start to get this movable joint and the tissues lining up. And that's where the repetition of adjustments comes in. When you start to get under chiropractic care 2-3 times a week for about, starting about 6 weeks gets you a really nice 18 adjustments. So it starts to get those fibers laying down in the direction those joints need to move, want to move, and were designed to move, so that you then have restoration of movement. And then from there, you'll have restoration of signals. And then from there, the substance P, that substance, that chemistry, that the P is a substance, is a pain. I think she's coming in on her phone.
I'm trying. Keep
Okay.
going.
Yep.
Keep going. I'm just over here messing around trying to figure it the F out.
The chemistry there is that substance P has a cascade, and then that substance P can be taken back out, reabsorbed into the body, and that's where we get healing. And so it's a really fascinating process. There's so many of our patients, I mean, even the ones that have been under care forever, still talk to us about, oh, I have this going on here, and this going on here, and this going on here, and this going on here. And it's like, awesome. Thank you.
Damn it.
And objectively, I'm going to now go through your body, and we're going to be, sorry, I'm just reading this too. We're going to be reorganizing no matter what you're telling me. So thank you for the symptoms update. And no matter what you're telling me, I'm going to be helping the body to reorganize and get the proper signals going back to the areas and get the stress signal out of the system. That's why when people leave here, they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm floating down your sidewalk.
Yeah. And we do always say healing takes time. However, there is this immediate, wow, I feel amazing sensation that takes place. And how cool is that?
Yeah.
It doesn't have, I mean, yes, we know that when we start to compound those effects over time, that is truly where the life-changing effects take place. But you will feel better in that one adjustment, which is just so freaking cool. But then you gotta, if you imagine that was one adjustment, imagine what stacking them on one over the next will do for you. That's really where the magic comes from.
It really is. And then you stack it weeks and months and then years, and then you make it a regular part of your taking good care of yourself. And then like literally you'll have a completely different existence. And people are, I never want to say like they're aging in reverse, but truly they're staying really healthy, and they are making sure that everything's connected as they go. And so therefore they're not, what do they say? I'd rather be the oldest at the gym rather than the youngest at an assisted living facility. And I love that. And I've been seeing that over and over lately. So that's really our goal, is to have our health expectancy match our life expectancy. Anything grows, just to answer your question, what would the approach for someone with Ehlers-Danlos? Thank you for bringing that up, because we do see all different kinds of people. So Ehlers-Danlos is a soft tissue disorder, and there's usually a little more lax in the joint spaces. So this applies across the board, no matter if it's Ehlers-Danlos or severe arthritis or a baby or a 90-year-old. Everything is tailored specifically to your body needs. And so somebody with Ehlers-Danlos would have just a little bit different body needs. We don't need to go and establish a whole ton of hypermobility in joints that are already there. So whether that be a tonal adjustment, we have tools. So Dr. Paula has an arthrostim, I have an activator and an impulse. So we just have a lot of things, tools up our sleeves in our tool bags to be able to use in order to address that. But that goes for anyone with the disease process all the way up to both sides of the spectrum with age and all kinds of walks of life. So yeah.
If you're a 1-day-old baby, that adjustment's going to look very different than if you're a 60-year-old construction worker.
Right.
And that truly is where our gifts lie, is being able to what's actually happening within each person's body. How do we reestablish a better brain body connection so that you can ultimately have your body's self-healing capacity? And that's really like, it's a restoration of
Mhm.
what's been lost. And especially for we'll just talk about the hyperdanlos, go back to that for a second. With when we that so it's a hypermobile. For anybody who doesn't know, Ehlers-Danlos is a hypermobility issue. It's a connective tissue disorder, where it's like when you say people are double jointed, and they might go like this with their elbow and it looks like their elbow's bending backwards, or they can also be the same people who stand and you say stand with your knees straight, but then their knees bow backwards. So they don't have enough um, uh, there's too much laxity in the joint, the tendons and ligaments, to hold that joint properly in place. And so so these people really do struggle. And that's why when we talk about, it's not always about the crack. So in order to get what's called cavitation, or get that sound, you have to get to the end play. If you're doing I'm using my hands here for anybody just in listening, but I would be using my hands and I would take that joint to what we call end play. So you're getting to the edge of the taking the tendons and ligaments to a stretch, a particular stretch, where then you can deliver a very fast movement that then will allow that joint to cavitate, and you'll hear the crack and pop. But we can't do that with people with hypermobile issues, because we can injure them, and we know this. So I've met people and they're like, I can't go to the chiropractor, I have Ehlers-Danlos. And I'm like, you need to go to the chiropractor so that your Ehlers-Danlos isn't as severe. And so that's why we use those tools, because it's literally about stimulating the nervous system. So like Dr. Erica was saying, between the ArthroStim, which I have, which is a little vibratory pulsar, and then she has the activator, which is also a vibratory pulsar, but it's manual. Those actually cause vibration that then speaks to the nervous system. So there's all kinds of ways. It's like tapping the nervous system, to telling it to do what we want it to do, versus giving it we'll just say the crack.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of ways to speak to the nervous system to help improve how it communicates with your body. Because often, like if people only think of us for cracking bones, if they have a connective tissue disorder and they're like, well, I can't have that done, I have this thing. Well, then that's why we're here, to educate you that we have so many other tools. We're not going to do that to a 1-day-old baby. It's a
Right.
very different,
Right.
adjustment. It is
So,
hands-on, it could use tools, but it's not going to be some big with babies. You're literally just, it's this, you guys, it's these tiny little, and sometimes it's just holding
mhm.
and getting the energetic connection between your hands and the baby. And you'll feel that, the baby will move around, and babies are very in tuned to the energy that you can provide their bodies to help them restore that alignment.
So they, anything grows also said my chiropractor aims for no cracks during the sessions. And yeah. So you clearly have that, which is great. And also are seeing what sounds like to be the right chiropractor. So
Mm.
yeah, as Dr. Paula was saying, I always describe like even pushing like the adjustment. First of all, the pressure of if a dime was sitting on my finger right here, the pressure of a dime is the kind of pressure that interferes with the nervous system, that little of pressure. So to take the dime off, I mean, we don't have to have this big explosive adjustment. It doesn't have to be like that. We just have to be working in the right way at the right time. And so I feel better, but I will say I haven't gotten worse. Well, that's great. And honestly, some of the things, some of the ways that people come under care is like, okay, I have this thing and if I have this thing now and I'm 48 years old, what does this look like 5, 10, 15, 20? What does this look like 40 years from now? And what can I do today I don't know if it's going to get better, but I would love to stay aligned to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to prevent it from getting worse. Like we love to see, especially like like puberty teenagers, as they're going in, they're going through sports, they're doing all the things. I love to see them even younger than that. But like, if you are diagnosed with a scoliosis because you went to a sports physical and you are not sent to the chiropractor's office, like that is a major negligence by the sports physical doctor, whoever that is. Now, to back up, also, Dr. Paula was talking about the end play of a joint. So there's our individual range of motion for each individual person is supposed to be each joint 80%. So we're supposed to have our own 80% movement in every one of our joints. Chiropractors work in the paraphysiological space, which is the 80 to 90. So these aren't the moves you can do on your own, which is why you need to seek out a chiropractor. But we work 80 to 90. We don't want the joint moving 100%. Like that's where things go a little bit sideways. So in the paraphysiological space, that's beyond what you can do on your own, but it's in a safe zone where we're starting to reestablish the motion back into the joints. So all of that is individually catered and tailored to each individual person, and it's awesome. Like I have this woman I've spoken about to you guys before. She's usually Thursdays around 12:15 or 12:30, and I haven't seen her in a while. And anyway, it was like she's been gone for 3 months. I'm like, what have you been doing? And she said, well, I did decide because I'm in so much pain, I was going to go get a steroid injection. And then it helped for 2 days, and then it got worse. And then she said, and then I went back a couple of weeks later, and they did another one at a different dosage. And she's like, nothing is helping. Like, I know we see this all the time, and I'm glad you're back, and let's just start to get the body the right kind of movement and stimulation to get at least moving again. So I never want to ostracize people for ever looking elsewhere, because that is part of it. And they're always turned back around. And this year, it seems super hot to be turning back around to your chiropractic office. Like everyone's coming back in January. Right now, they slipped off, and people from even pre-COVID are like, man, that's the best I was feeling. And that was a long time ago, but it's like, we're welcome here. Get your booty back under care.
Get over here. So I have 2 comments. The first one is when you're talking about the paraphysiological space and addressing the issue of people cracking their own necks and doing this thing. And so what that is that that can be like I'll say a self-induced Ehlers-Danlos, not technically
Right.
the term for that, but what happens is we have, and this is where chiropractors shine in order to optimize your nervous system and the health to your brain, is that there are certain areas of your spine that are not moving. We call that a subluxation. You don't have to remember that name, but just think of the joints have been overstressed and they just cannot move like they should. And so then that creates a neurological signal to the muscles and says to tighten up. So that's why you feel tight in certain spaces. And then what happens is you want relief. And so you've taught yourself that you can go and rip your neck from side to side and hear this big crack. Well, what's happening is you've now figured out that the joints above, so let's say this is the locked segment, you've figured out that when you rip your neck side to side, you can go like this, and you are taking these hypermobile joints that are above the locked joints, and they will move very easily. And now think of that. It is just grinding and grinding upon itself day after day. You are worsening an already lax situation. And oftentimes what'll happen, you come to the chiropractor, I will say, please stop doing that. Give me 2 weeks and you will not have the sense that you need to do that anymore. Because when we get I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm looking at my camera up there. When we get strategic about so now I'm going to find this area down here that's locked up. I'm going to adjust that. And then that allows these tendons and ligaments to heal above in that hypermobile area that you've been ripping on for years. But usually after about 2 weeks, you'll be like, oh my God, I kind of forgot. I forgot
Right.
that I liked to do that, because now we are creating true stability. And now we're sending signals to the brain that say, hey, we don't have to do this. Oh, and you need to heal up these loose tissues. And now we can focus on healing the scar tissue and all the tension and damage that's been created beneath that. So it is truly a signaling issue when we are not necessarily adjusting the spine as much as we're adjusting the brain and getting that to function the way it needs to.
Yeah, I mean, we see, which is the reason why we're on here every week. The things that we get to see in our offices, it's not that you guys wouldn't believe it, but it's that people don't really realize it's in the chiropractic office that they're really looking for the healing, the health, the growth, the evolving, the nutrition support. Oh my gosh, I was talking with a patient yesterday, and it was like, the food pyramid got flipped on its head last week. And that's the guidelines for hospital and for children for school. And like what? And it's also the basis for, I don't know if I should really speak so boldly, but it's the basis for a dietitian's certification or whatever. Like, unless you're really versed in the physiology behind what the food is doing in the body, like, we cannot, like, for that entire system to flip on its head, like, where are we going? And here's the thing: we as chiropractors are the ones that are teaching about nutrition, that are teaching about how health is built, are teaching about all this stuff. And it's really why we're here talking outside of our four walls of our offices, because we are the place. And I will stand boldly on any stage and say, we are the place that you're looking for. You just didn't know you were looking for it.
Yeah.
And where to look, right?
Well, and I had somebody ask me the other day about, did I see what they're doing with the new food pyramid? And I said, I have workshops that I've been teaching for 20 years.
Yeah.
Where I have a graphic where I took the food pyramid and it's upside down.
Yeah.
And I've been teaching this for 20 effing years.
I know.
Yeah. And somebody said to me, did RFK, you should sue RFK. Did they pay you for stealing your idea? I'm like, because the Mediterranean diet, so the Mediterranenean diet has historically been our upside down food pyramid, our food pyramid, but turned upside down. And I don't care what diet comes and goes, keto, carnivore, vegan, I don't care what it is. In my opinion, there is nothing more superior than the Mediterranean diet. It helps manage your brain. It helps manage your longevity, your gut health. It is supportive of blood sugar. It's supportive of gut health. And it doesn't necessarily matter. Like, stop chasing the fads. Just stop and just start eating in ways that will fuel your body properly. And that's truly, food is a signaling mechanism. What you put in your body, much like when you get adjusted, is a signaling process. Is it signaling good health? Is it signaling bad health? Is it signaling brain health? Is it signaling inflammation? So you have to look at the food that you're putting in your body as what kind of fuel is going to give you the proper signals to your brain and your body for healing, and be able to take those signals and say, okay, these signals are they're going to help change my biology. And if I had access to, I know if Ken were here, he would be like, it's all about the biology.
Yeah, it's in the, yeah.
There it is. It is. It's all about the biology. So yeah.
No, it's so true. And when you say, I mean, you can blanket statement the Mediterranean diet, and really when you look into it, just to make it a little more clear, it's food, you guys. It's like real food, mildly processed, maybe into hummus, cooked appropriately, prepared appropriately, and you end up with all foods. And the thing is like, I look back and I kind of, as we're not even near spring break, right? It's 8 degrees outside right now here in Michigan. But as we look in spring break and I look at the pictures on social media and all these high school kids that are on spring break that are overly inflamed. And there's like, that is not how our human body is supposed to be treated in the ways that they are. Now, I remember I was talking to patients yesterday. I remember in middle school, I was allowed to pick out what I wanted to eat for food for lunch. I took onion rings and I took the breading off the onion rings, pulled the onion out of the middle and ate only the breading, followed it with a cookie, and then also one of those big like dinner rolls that were so gooey and delicious, slapped a pat of butter in the middle of it. And now, mind you, I have hypoglycemia. And do you want to know where that all started? That I have reactive hypoglycemia. I'm actually have solved it now by just, eating real whole foods. But that's where it comes from. And I have this like food scarcity feeling, but it has to do with how I fueled my body on frosted mini wheats and on who knows what else, right? And Wonder Bread and Lord only knows that is not appropriate. But it's also, we didn't have Monster drinks available. We didn't have Starbucks on every corner. We didn't also have all of the other things. And so when Dr. Paula is talking Mediterranean diet, it means whole foods, it means clean products, it means you cooked it at home, it means all those things. And that's really where health comes from. And I don't know what the government's going to do. And if they're not calling out the hospital food to change and the school food to change, like within the next couple of weeks, like this is absolute propaganda that, the hospital's feeding you whatever. I would never eat if I had, God forbid, I have to go into the hospital. I'm going to be having Dr. Paula be bringing me food, like in my family. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to reach out for the healthiest and best quality that I can get my hands on. It's not going to be what's there, and that's based on the old vibes of grain foundation, gluten foundation, like what fortified wheat.
That's the Mediterranean diet. It's very few grains.
Doing?
It's
Right.
not like a giant bowl of pasta at
No.
all. Years ago, probably, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, I had this unrelenting, horrific back pain. It turned out to be cysts in my kidneys, but the hospital wanted to tell me I pulled a muscle. Regardless, I ended up going by ambulance to the hospital. And when my sister-in-law said, which hospital do you want to go to? And you guys, no joke, I said, take me to Henry Ford, because I heard that they had really high quality food. And I was in that hospital for 4 days, and I ate arugula salads with salmon every effing day. I was like, if I have to be in the hospital, again, I didn't know. I mean, I was in serious pain. I had no idea what was going to happen. But yeah, I literally in my intractable pain, as the firefighters they had to lift me off of my garage floor because I fell and I was in too much pain to get up. They had to lift me in a blanket to put me on a stretcher. Like it was a shit show. And in that pain, I had the wherewithal to go, yeah, take me to Henry Ford. They serve good food.
Yeah, take me to where the food is actually edible.
Where the food is. And literally, like, everything on the menu was amazing. Like, I was like, can I just come here for lunch? And they do have a cafe and they serve great food. But yeah, but if you're in a regular hospital, if you're somewhere, you're getting, I don't know, creamed chicken and something, biscuits and gravy, you're getting something that's just atrocious. And, sugar-free Jello and all of that bullshit. Like, no. And again, it's signaling. Like I was like, okay, something is super inflamed in my body. I didn't know what it was. And I knew that, I was like, I'm not going to end up in a hospital and then not have good fuel for my body.
Right.
So that was important. And then of course, supplements, I had told them, I'm like, these are the supplements I take every day. I take fish oil, I take probiotic, I take vitamin D. They fought me on that. And they were like, I was like, no, these are the nutrients I need every day. And they literally fought me, had to get multiple signatures to bring me supplements, you guys. But then they were like, you need to take this Valium or whatever it was. They were trying to give me muscle relaxers so that the physical therapist could come in and help me do whatever they needed to do. And I was like, this, it's the insanity. So going back to what you said, you hope you never end up in the hospital, God forbid. And that's when I tell people, I'm like, that experience alone made me understand why people die in hospitals.
Oh, yeah.
So we are here to shout from the rooftops. If you want the ultimate in longevity, if you want to avoid hospitals and not get, once you get into the system, it is very difficult to get out. And into the system means you're 40. It's time to take a blood pressure. It's time to take cholesterol medication. It's time to have a tube shoved up your ass to tell you you don't have cancer. Right. It's time to have your boobs smashed in a machine to tell you you don't have cancer. That is not preventive health. Okay. That is just like, they're looking for something. And if you don't have it, they send you off and tell you to come back in 5 years. How's that prevention? It isn't.
Right.
So
You know what,
we are talking about prevention.
Right. And we're always like, even when you talk about some of those screenings that people do. So, you know, if you had to pay for one of those screenings out of pocket, unfortunately, a lot of that's, I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of those things are covered, but chiropractic isn't always covered. And so, but here's the thing, if you had to pay for one of those services out of pocket, you could get an entire year of care. Okay. You could get an entire year.
Like a couple.
I know the blood screening that they did on me, January last year, it's probably another week from now, a year ago. That blood screening, the price that I am still paying on that blood screening that I could have gotten from my functional medicine practitioner for roughly $250 out of pocket, because I was in the system, that amount of money that I have to pay them for that whole blood screening, which was maybe 18 markers, could have gotten me exceptional chiropractic care for a year and a half. Every week or 2 times a week, you guys. Like, we keep things, we need to keep it affordable, accessible, but also we are going to be on here, like Dr. Paula said, shouting from the rooftops about where health is really coming from, because it's coming from our offices, and then you're focused on eating good food, moving your body, drinking your water, prioritizing rest, making sure that you're getting proper nutrient supplementation, keeping a positive mental attitude, and then getting adjusted. And we're here for it well, we've been here for it for 2 years, but we are here for 2026, and so happy when things like that happen and things get flipped on their heads.
Yes,
like,
it's a start.
Let's go.
Sure. But they did steal my idea, and I would like compensation for it. So
yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess we'll just have to keep moving on this podcast, right?
I know. Well, it's great. It's great that at that level, that level of influence is actually being influenced with health principles, like real health principles now. And I don't know why we're in 2026 and that's only just happening now. But if you follow where the money is, you follow where the money is. That's how it got it that way in the first place. And it's time. It's just time, and we're freaking here for it. We love seeing what's happening.
Yeah, and it really, we've been in practice for probably over 50 years combined. Yeah. And the thing is, I still feel like we're in this grassroots, you know, it's like, what the hell?
It's
so
wild.
It is good to see, you know, and then of course we had the vaccine schedule is being reduced here in the US from 72 shots per year down to, I think, 11. But again, people have made it a political issue, and it was okay. I'm going to get slightly I have to like watch my words so we don't get a tag on YouTube still this many years later. But it was okay when the CDC mandated that everyone line up to get a shot that didn't work, that claimed you wouldn't get the thing that it claimed you wouldn't get, when now those people continue to get the thing. And now we have this long COVID, which is literally, it's damage from the thing that they said you had to get if you wanted to keep your job, if you wanted to travel, if you wanted to buy frickin' groceries and walk into a store, people were getting rejected. So we have that going on. So that the science there, people politically were like, follow the science. But now that same organization is saying, no, we need to reduce what's our childhood vaccine schedule because we have too many sick kids. And now those same people, because of the administration that's in place, are like, we're going to continue to follow the science from the people who gave us bad science, because somehow the same organization isn't science when it's under a different political, I don't know. You guys, it's crazy. So you got to ask questions. You have to literally question every single thing, because don't make it a political issue. This is ultimately a health issue, and you are in charge of your health. So
it's really awesome because I'm feeling it more than ever. They're ready to not only like, they come to us all the time and say, why didn't my medical doctor blah, blah, say this? Why didn't they tell me about this? Why didn't they? So we have given our authority over to somebody else to like tell us what to do. And a lot of that has been done in blind faith. And there's a time and place for it. And people are also now, they're saying, oh, this is my responsibility. And it's followed by, and I'm really happy that it's my responsibility now because I get to make choices. Where before it used to be like, why didn't my blah, 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 and it would go on and on. Now it's just like, oh, this is my responsibility. Okay. Who do I need on board? Who do I need on my team? Who do I need as the director? Where are my board of directors? How am I going to be managing my health and my life and my year? And let's get going. So,
and don't be mad when your insurance doesn't cover this stuff. You can't be mad. Your insurance is not there to help you be healthy. It is there to take care of catastrophic things, God forbid. And it's not there to help keep you healthy. Right. So, you can make the statement, I don't know why they wouldn't cover this. Well, it's because it's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility to ask the questions, to seek your own health guided ways, to follow us so that we can guide you to the right direction.
And reach out to us and follow, like, subscribe, and do all the things you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's right. On all the channels. We're coming from about 4 different channels here. So we've got, we do have in the comments, make sure you check the show notes for all the different channels. And also it's all about the biology, which I just realized I need to add that to our channel listing, on our lives. So,
cool.
And before we log off, I do want to say on Sunday, so on my Sunday Night Live show at 6 p.m. Eastern time, Ken, our wonderful Ken, who is our back-end producer of our live shows, he will be joining me live because I'm starting Detox with the Doc on Sunday, which is my 10-day it's a guided program with me, with my patients in a private Facebook group. It is not too late to join. So reach out to me if you're interested. And Ken is, he's going to join us on Sunday so that we can talk about, it's all about the biology and why this is so, why detoxing is so important in our world. So, so you don't want to miss that. And then we'll be back here Thursday. So that's that. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for all your love and support. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.